Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. As you can see on some of the letters, I have put the kasra sign. Why I have done that is actually I wanted to show you that these letters are a little bit difficult to say. If you notice, they are well, not this one, but the ones that are the stronger sounding letters, they actually, it's a little bit trickier to say their sound, especially the Fantastic Four. This one, this one, this one, and this one. I think we've dropped off the dhaw's dot here, so we're just going to add it back on again. There we go. That's the dhaw. Okay, so if we say these sounds with a downward tone, because that's what a kasra does, it takes the sound down one count. Like for instance, we say si, di, and this is ti and di. Now these are difficult to say because when the child says them, he says them like as if he's saying the sound of a Tweety bird. So I tell the children, I don't want a Tweety bird in my class. It's not sui, lui, tui, lui, but it is sli. So the way to tell the children this sound is to constantly keep practicing. Constantly tell them that they need to take that toffee off from the top of the palate that they've got stuck over there. And another good way of doing that is if you take the sound up and then down. Say saw, sli, saw, sli, saw, sli, lodi, lodi, toti, lodi, toti, lodi. This one is also one of the strong letters, ra, but see, it's not so difficult to say this, ri. Neither is this one difficult to say, qi, nor is this one difficult to say, khi. Those are much easier to say as compared to these ones, because again, the roof of the palate is pretty much taken up. It's a very difficult way to pull the sound down, sli, li, tli, li, whereas you still have some open spaces here, qi, because only the back of the tongue is up, so it's not so difficult to say those sounds. So this is something that needs to be practiced. But I also wanted to tell you one thing, is that in this particular fatha, dhamma, kasra lessons, we have to make sure that the child does not pull the letters up too high or take them down too low or take them to the side. So when they are, like for instance, if I tell them say ri, and they go ri, I say oh, you've gone right through my floor of the floor of my house. You've gone into the basement, or you've gone right down deep. You've dug a hole in the ground. So don't do that. Don't go so far down. It's just ri. And if the child was going with the same sound and saying oh, I would say you cannot pull it so high. Oops, you've made a hole in my ceiling. Look at that, you've gone through the first floor. It's not raw, it's just raw. And the same would be if I was to put a pesh on the top and I ask the child, well, how do you say this sound? And he says, roo, it's not a roo, it's not a roo, it's just a roo. It's just keep it short, keep the sounds short, because if you say woo, you've gone to the neighbor's house. You've gone right through the wall to the neighbor's house. So that's something that you need to constantly keep doing with the children to make sure that they do not elongate the sounds of the letters, because if you do, then this one would actually begin to look like this one, or you can say a mad sound, which is a pulling of two counts. So, or this one could be the pulling down of two counts, ri, or it could be the pulling up of the sound, ro. So we have to be careful that the children don't mix these up. It's really fine-tuning the children's ability to say the sounds with the correct elongation. You don't elongate it correctly, you're basically not reading the Quran properly. So it's something that we really need to get right, inshallah, and the best way to do it is to learn the right way as soon as you begin with the learning of the Quran, because if you don't, then it's always a majhul, or the wrong way of recitation, and sometimes the meanings of the letters could be very different from what you're actually saying. So that's something in this lesson. So as you can see, stress is on learning what happens when the zabar zir pesh comes on them, fatha, dhamma, kasra, and then what happens and how to elongate them. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.